Welcome to Journeys of Impact. Extraordinary people, extraordinary places, extraordinary change. This isn't just a show, it's a movement in motion. Join Lori as she travels beyond the expected to meet the changemakers, dreamers, and doers who are transforming communities around the world and right in their own backyards. From powerful conversations to unforgettable adventures, every episode is packed with heart, humor, and moments that stay with you long after the journey ends. This is where travel meets purpose, where storytelling sparks action, and where creativity turns ideas into real impact. Through candid interviews, immersive local experiences, and playful challenges, Journeys of Impact brings you closer to the people and places, proving that change doesn't have to be loud, it just has to be real. You'll laugh, you'll reflect, you'll be inspired to see the world and your role in it differently. Because extraordinary change starts with one bold idea, one courageous step, and one ripple that grows into something bigger than we ever imagined. Welcome, your host, Lori McDowell.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Journeys of Impact. I am really excited today to have two of my favorite people, Ariel Faith and Amy Janece, and they are both amazing, and we are going to be hosting a retreat together this September. And during this show, I want to talk a little bit, the title of the show is The Power of Being Seen, Heard, and Unleashed. And I've been talking a lot lately about magic, and then we all have our own magic. And often it's not that magic is us becoming someone else, it's that magic is in us and we want to uncover it. And there's lots of ways to uncover it. A retreat's a great way, but also getting the right photographs, getting the right colors, getting the person who you are. And both Ariel and Amy are masters at helping you do that, helping you to become that person that you already are, but actually show that person to the world. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about their journey. Ariel, why don't you go first?
Okay, so I'm Ariel Faith, visual.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can. I can't hear Amy either. Very weird.
I can hear Ariel.
Can you hear each other?
We can hear each other.
Must be me. All right, well, let me, that's weird because I did hear you. Well, go ahead and talk and we'll assume everybody else can hear you and I'll figure out what's going on.
Okay, if there's anybody live, if you don't mind just putting in the chat. I don't know if they see that. If there's a chat, then we'll know that whether they hear us or not, because otherwise we'll be blank. But I'm Ariel Faith, visual story brand strategist. So what does that mean? I help women create and curate all the marketing that they need, from the strategy to the images to the video content, what they need to feel comfortable in their being visible, and we do it with joy and fun. That's me in a nutshell. Amy, you want to try?
Sure. So I am Amy Janece. I'm a personal brand image strategist. And what that means is I empower experts and leaders to align how they visually present themselves, like how they look with the colors that they wear, with who they are on the inside and what their message is to the world, so that when all three of those things are aligned, how you physically present yourself, who you are, and what your message is, your audience can lean in. So your relationship strengthened, your income goes up, and you feel more at home in your own skin than you probably ever have.
Well, awesome. I can now hear you all again. Headphones dealt with some technical difficulty. So luckily I knew what you both did, so I didn't have to hear that, but everyone else did. So I'd love to, we're going to be talking about this retreat and the journey, but I want to really start with asking a little bit about, how did you how did you start doing what you were doing? What was the what got you to this place? So I'm going to start with you, Amy.
I've been working on trying to make this story a little more succinct. So basically, I had been behind the scenes for over 20 years as a copywriter, ghostwriter, different things, and finally decided that I needed to stop hiding because I was teaching my children to do that. And I put a novel out in my own name, and then went to an event to support a friend, and there was this lady there telling people their colors that they should wear. And I leaned into that because I figured it wouldn't hurt to listen to a professional for author photos, book signings, things like that. And I didn't like the colors she told me to wear. I told her she was wrong. Um, Laughed at me. I agreed to wear what
Sounds
she
like
said.
me.
I agreed to share what she suggested for 1 week to prove her wrong, and in less than an hour, I knew she was right. She also told me I had an eye for it and should let her train me. I resisted that for a year and a half. So basically, in less than 6 months, my income more than doubled. My relationship with family and friends strengthened. Strangers treated me different. My brother even told me one day, you're more like you than you've been in over 30 years. What changed? And I was like, my shirt? Like, it was just the colors I was wearing. So as I went through that, I started paying her to type my family and friends because I was like, everyone needs this. And I was seeing the same results in everyone else. And again, she kept telling me, you have an eye for this. You need to let me train you. I finally said yes to that because I was like, I could just type them myself. Didn't intend to do it as a business. Wanted to take on a couple of clients just to reimburse myself for the training. And the first time I announced it publicly, I had 4 women come up to me afterward and tell me what I said changed their lives. Because for me, I believe beauty is an inside out process. Everyone deserves to look beautiful in the body they're in. And we bring that out in the colors you wear and finding something you do love and enhancing that rather than focusing on the things you don't. So once I saw the impact that my story and positioning had, I realized there was a little more resisting, but we won't get into the full story. I realized that this was how I share that message of you are a masterpiece and you deserve to be seen as such. Your clothes are just the frame.
I love that statement. Your clothes are the frame, and it's amazing. Even with the picture, like putting the picture in the wrong frame can make a huge difference. So it's a great analogy. So Ariel, what you do fits so well on top of Amy because women, especially many of us, even when we have the right clothes, we don't like to get our pictures taken. We look at them and we say, oh God, I'm too fat. I have a double chin. I mean, even here, I'm looking at my picture and you two look beautiful and I'm looking at myself and all this stuff. And you're probably doing the same with yourself. So you don't just take pictures, you actually do a complete, a branding to make people feel comfortable. So not only they're wearing the right colors as Amy's helped them, but you're taking the right pictures in the right situation. So tell us a little bit about how you got started in that and how you found that magic.
So for me, it was an interesting journey. I've been in business for over 30 years, worked for myself. And I was actually hired to write a book, and I needed to get a big girl camera for this book because I had to take all the photos that were in the book, and it was a visual book. It was about architecture and traditional design. So this is many years ago. And so I'm making this book, and now I'm getting into photography because I have a real camera with different lenses, and I'm having fun. So I started really
I'm still having trouble hearing Ariel. So Amy,
can you hear me?
That's the next question. You guys can hear me, but Ariel cut out after like the first word again. I don't know what's wrong with my microphone.
I hear you, Ariel.
Now
okay.
I can't hear you either.
Uh-oh, it's got to be your mic. Anyway, so to make so the story goes, I was out in nature. I was doing flower photography, portraits of animals, things like that. So I was working in the nature world, and I really loved it. It was very therapeutic and very good for me. Then I was walking in the streets of Chicago, and one of the other photographers that was with me said, let's challenge ourselves. And he said, let's do street portraits. And I didn't at this point ever really, work with people. And people are very different. People have personality. They have fears. I mean, as you said, it was just different. And I saw something magical that day that I had never realized. The power of the camera is way more than just about the photograph. It's much more about the images we capture. It's about the experience and the fact that you are getting comfortable in front of a camera. If I'm comfortable in front of a camera, then being on a Zoom or being on a podcast is no longer scary. It's about getting outside of that comfort zone. So what I saw was this one woman in particular who was used to being seen. She was a public dancer, and she was on the street trying to get people to come to her show. And we asked her if we could photograph her, and she came alive. This is a woman who performs, but there was a disconnect between her performance and who she was as a person. So I got to stop and talk to her for a little while, and I asked her to take the performance off and just show me who she is, because that's an honor. And she did. And we got the most amazing photographs of her because she was who she was, right? We took the masks off. We didn't have to be the powerhouse. You can be a powerhouse if you want. If that's part of your persona and your brand, cool. Let's do it. But I mean, you can be what you want in photographs. You can send the message and the feeling you want in your marketing, through your visual story, through your branding. All of that, when it works together, just like Amy said earlier, when it all works together, the words and the images, it's an incredibly good message. And getting in front of the camera is very hard for women. But the impact I've seen it have on their self-confidence is immense. And it's like they almost get addicted to it. I just had a shoot. I literally just had a shoot this morning with a woman who said to me, she's never done this. She's never had professional photographs. And she goes, I could see myself needing to, updating this, coming every 3 to 4 months. I could see this being, and because now she understands what she can accomplish through that session. Not just, okay, I've got months of content to create and I have no idea where to start. Which is what
I love that. And both of what both of you talked about is really clear about being the person you were meant to be, becoming who you are. It's interesting. I saw a TikTok video that was up. It just popped up, and I thought about it, and I looked at the person, and I was like, "Well, God, that guy looks like he's acting like an idiot." And then all of a sudden, it occurred to me, well, to me, he looks like he's acting like an idiot because I would never do that, because that's not me. And then I thought, but that's probably him. So for him, that's just as comfortable as I'm comfortable going and do the stuff that's me. And that's why, his video went viral, not because he was acting like an idiot, but because he was being authentically him, and people related to that. And I feel like when that happens, magic happens and people relate to us. Like Amy, I know you were at my retreat in Utila last year, and you actually got sales without making offers, which is pretty cool. So, and I think it was because people related to you. Either of you want to chime in on that idea?
I will believe there's a difference between being looked at and being seen, right? We look at people, we look at each other, we look at ourselves in the mirror, but to actually be seen means you're being seen for who you are. And when you unleash that, when you accept that, get comfortable with it, and just be who you are, like, it's the most beautiful thing in the world. Just like Ariel was discussing with that performer. When we take the masks off, that's when our truest gifts can come forward. And I can tell you the deepest relationships that I've developed and the most sales that I've gotten have been when I just showed up as me. I wasn't trying to get a sale. I wasn't trying to be seen. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. It does help when you have clients in the room who speak highly of you. And it is just being you. And when you are in that place, things just naturally come to you. because what is meant for you is always going to be attracted to you. And when you don't have to pretend and work that hard, it's effortless, and it just makes life more enjoyable. And in a retreat space, like, that allows you to let go of all the outside things, be present, show up as who you are, and accept all the magic around you, and realize that you're providing magic to the room as well. And everyone wins in that situation. I love being a part of those types of things.
Yeah, and when you think
ahead.
about it from a business perspective, right? When you are with the needs of social media, it's very demanding, it's very hungry, and most of us have to play on some extent in that world. We have to at least be present consistently, whether that's weekly, whether that's every day, that's totally up to us. But we have to kind of keep that moving through the year. And when we can be ourselves, truly, that's when the audience connects with us. If they don't connect with us, it's okay. There's plenty of other people doing what you're doing. And it is our personalities and our values and all of the things that make up the brand itself, that when we share those things authentically, when we get that twinkle in the eye, when we get that real smile, not the fake one, when we get them laughing, when we get whatever it is that they want, that's them, right? Just like you said, that one guy was a little too cuckoo for you, I might have been right next to him doing that cuckoo thing. You never know. I don't know what he was doing, but that being allowed, being in a room with people who understand that we all wear masks, that we all hide, we all don't want to be visible. I mean, for the most part, we wouldn't do this if society wasn't demanding it in business. Would I get on stage? Yeah, I probably would, but most people wouldn't. They wouldn't get in front of a camera. So we're helping people get outside of that comfort zone. And in a retreat setting, it's beautiful because you're with a bunch of people who feel the same stress. The other women that attend are all feeling very similar stresses and pain points. And so you can get comfortable really quick. You can get real really quick if you want. And you're also with facilitators that are open to seeing, and not everyone is. And that's the good, the bad, the ugly, and the messy. It's whatever is. It's not just the beautiful, perfect side. 'Cause in fact, I have a talk I give about being, that perfect is actually invisible. The things that are perfect nowadays, the more AI, the more we see like perfect everything, the more we don't pay attention to it. But the real is what captures our attention.
Yeah, I always remember showing my age, but was it Jennifer Grey who was in Dirty Dancing? I thought she was so beautiful back then. And recently, or sometimes, she had a nose job, and she had plastic surgery, and now she's much more perfect. And to me, she doesn't stand out nearly as much as she did before, because it was like unique and it was her. And now she just looks like a clone, and it's not, there are a lot of people, but she always stood up to me, because I'm like, wow, you were a lot prettier when you had a big nose, like, but it was you, and it was beautiful. So it's interesting. I want to talk a little, we talked about being who you are, getting your colors, getting those pictures. And then the other, there's still, we can all have the right colors and we can be ourselves. And sometimes you have to go out there and you have to have a message too. And one of the things that I've been working with a lot of speaker coaches, improving my speech, and everyone from someone who teaches you how to sell from the stage, to an actor teaching you how to be on stage, to I've worked with a Harvard professor who coaches like presidents and prime ministers, and worked with Obama and such. And it's interesting because the one thing people often forget, I was on an event where there were like 50 people giving a short talk, and the ones that stood out were the ones that had story, they had emotion, they had feeling. The others were great and they were polished, and I don't remember them, but I remember the ones that had personality. And I think that's, everyone has a great story. Everyone has a great message. And so many of us don't share that message, whether it's because we're embarrassed about it. But the more vulnerable I get, the more bad things I share about myself, the more people react, because nobody wants perfection. So I love that you said that. So talk a little bit about stories and trying to, we're going to be doing it at our retreat, and we're going to talk more about the retreat in a little bit, but we're definitely going to be doing a talk. You're going to come and you're going to have a signature talk, and we're going to coach you on that talk. And then we're going to make video of that talk. So you have that as well as your pictures and your colors, such. And then that story is going to be a book. But can you talk a little bit, why don't you go first, Ariel, about stories and emotion and how, once you have that pictures in your brand that you're comfortable with, you can start moving into sharing your authority and sharing your stories.
Yeah, and stories are interesting, and I find in business we get confused about them because there's many different types of stories. And the stories that we tell for business have a purpose. You tell a different story for a different reason at different times. So when we understand the power of storytelling and why we're using the story, and then we make that conscious choice, it's intentional. You say, I'm going to tell this story because I want them to see that I understand them. I have that sense of compassion. So you tell them a story about your own experience and how you felt and how you overcame it. You become the guide in the story. So the stories have a purpose, especially for business. And a personal brand story will be different than a company's story. So when we know that, we learn about the arc, the emotional arc in a story and some of the other components. We hear a lot about storytelling, and a lot of people assume it's the origin story. There is a place and a time for the origin story. But that's not the story. The story isn't that you went to Harvard and you have this degree or that degree or whatever. You worked at this company for 50 years. That's a piece of your life. But the story is who you are and what got you to overcome all that inner chatter, right? How did you get to be where you are? There's so many other layers to the story. So everybody will have something that they want to share. I think the hardest story is the best story. The one you don't want to share is the one you should share. And it really is the one that will be the most impactful once you work through that story part. But stories in business is magic because we remember stories.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because there are stories and then that you can tell. And I love that the hardest story, I agree with that completely. And sometimes the stories are surprising, knowledge comes from something you remember, but you didn't look at it that way. But one of the things too, people sometimes they do try to tell those hard stories when they're still there. One of my coaches would say, speak from your scars, not your wounds. I was giving my talk, and my husband passed away about 3 weeks ago. And I had this little anecdote. He was my example in the story. And as I was giving the talk, I realized I wasn't ready to talk about that yet. So I just kind of skipped to something else and went through that. And I know that's going to be my story eventually, yet I wasn't there yet. So having that coaching on what's the right story and how to get that out. Amy, do you want to add anything to that?
I have an example of how working through it. And okay, we're all going to have different stories from our life that relate to what we're doing in business, especially when you're becoming an author, right? So with my background in ghostwriting and things like that, I love helping pull stories out of people, especially how it relates to their business and propels them forward and strengthens their message. And sometimes we're blinded to our own things, right? Like we don't know, for one thing, our why. We cannot see it for a long time because it is so deep and personal to us that we don't even know until we get help pulling that out. I just realized within the last year and a half that what I do is so important to me and how I landed here, even though it's about the outside, it's really not. So I share this, and I'll share this quickly. When I was 6 years old, my grandmother hadn't been feeling well. And I wore my brand new Easter dress to go see her. It was this white, like lacy dress that when I would twirl around, it would, spin out and all of that. So, and when I tell this, if I have ability for slides, I usually have a picture of me in this dress when I was 6 years old. So we go to my grandmother's house and I jump out of the car and run into the house before the rest of my family. And I run up to my grandmother and twirl around and go, "Look, Grandma, I wore my new dress for you. Don't I look pretty?" And my grandmother's in the middle of the living room in her wheelchair, like her hospital bed is pushed up against the wall in the corner. And she looks at me and goes, "Who are you?" I was devastated because if my own grandma can't remember who I am, how is anyone else ever going to see me?
Mm.
I felt invisible. I felt like it didn't matter. Now, grown-up Amy realizes my grandmother had brain cancer. That was the last time I seen her alive. And that was a core fundamental memory. I didn't even put it together until about a year ago with the help of a coach, that's why it's so important for me for you to be seen and not looked at. And while that story is sad in a lot of ways, it's also beautiful because it gave me this deep seated need to help people be seen, right? So when you share your stories or when you have a coach or somebody there that can help bring out pieces of your story and relate them to your business and your why and how you're showing up in the world, that helps you stand out because almost everyone that I've shared that story with remembers that,
Mhm.
right? And I'm not sharing it just so you remember it. I'm sharing it so you can see me and see how I got here.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's
Yeah, that's a beautiful story. Well, we are going to take a little break for a word from our sponsor. And then we will be back and we're going to talk a little bit more about what you can expect at Unleashed Voices and why you might want to consider coming or sharing it with people. So, Doreen, a word from our sponsor. Hi, everyone. Do you want more impact? Do you want more income in your life? And do you want more fun? If you answered yes to all these questions, a retreat can be the answer for you. A retreat can be amazing. Imagine that you're selling your offer before you even made it. Like my client, Amy. Amy attended one of my retreats and she got 3 new clients without even trying to sell anything, just by getting to know people. That's the magic that a retreat could bring. And a retreat doesn't have to be hard. I have a program called Done For You Retreats. We can do a retreat just for you. I can connect you with partners and we can do collaborative retreats. You can host your own retreat. I can help facilitate. There's so many ways to make a retreat work. And the best way to do that is to book a call and to find out how a retreat can work for you. So if you're interested, if you've ever thought about hosting a retreat, if you've attended retreats and you're wondering what's next, if you have a community and you want a way to get more impact, more income, a better experience, a retreat might be the best option. So I'm Lori McDowell, founder of Reimagine You Strategies and the Done For You, Run For Your Retreat program. And we can make your retreat fun, easy, effortless, and profitable. So book a call, book Lori, Lori.net. Book a call, booklori.net, and let's discuss how you can make your retreat profitable, impactful, and a lot of fun. Have a fantastic day. Okay, everyone. Well, this is the Amy I was talking about in that ad. So I want to get back up. So I want to talk a little bit about Unleashed Voices. The 3 of us are going to be doing this amazing retreat. It's going to be in an Airbnb, beautiful, well, I shouldn't say Airbnb. It's going to be a beautiful mansion house in the Shenandoah Mountains, with a hot tub and with mountain views. And it's for a maximum of, I think we can fit 11 women maximum, and it's going to be amazing. We're going to have Amy will be doing your colors. You'll get that. Ariel will be taking some photos and working with you ahead of time so that those photos really release who you are. You'll be coming with a signature talk. We're going to be doing 10-minute talks, and we will be coaching you on that talk. So you'll be doing it a couple times, and the final time it'll be recorded, and we can take that video and cut it up and make you like basically a little speaker reel that you'll have. And then that the transcript from that talk will actually go in a compilation book. So we will all be part of a book. It's going to be amazing. You'll have a chapter in a book. You'll be a published author. We'll time it so that we can all become best-selling authors. And it's perfect if you want to, one, have a great time with a bunch of really cool women in the mountains where it's not super hot and where it's beautiful, but also connect with yourself, connect with others. We're also going to be doing fun stuff, you know, like we'll be doing maybe some hiking, we'll be doing a give back event. Amy, why don't you start? Tell us a little bit about, you know, why you're interested in this retreat and what made you jump on board.
I understand the power of being around like-minded people. And by that, I mean people who want to make the world a better place, have an impact, show up in a more powerful way. And I love collaboration. I think it's far better than competing. Now, if we're playing like Monopoly or basketball, totally different thing. But but in life and business, I believe in collaboration. Like people will resonate with me and people won't. Right. So if someone doesn't, I still want you to work with a professional, get your colors done and know what brings you to life best, because it's important for you to be seen. Right. And I might not be the right one for you. And I might. So if I am, come here. We'll set it up so that if you decide to join us in time, I can work with you ahead of time as well to know your colors and help you pick out what to wear for the photos and the video. So there's a lot that we can put into this, but when you're in this beautiful space, I've seen the pictures and can't wait to go. The hot tub is so inviting. When you're in this beautiful space with other people who have these big hearts and want to make impact and bring their brilliance, the things that can come up. I've watched businesses spark from these things. I've watched deals be made. I've watched best friends form. Like I've watched some incredible things on the retreats, and considering that I've been to one of Lori's retreats, I know how powerful they are, and I know what Lori brings is unmatched. So yeah, anytime Lori's like, hey, this retreat, yeah, I'm in. Yes, let's go.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. So please sign up because we don't want to have to cancel it. I've got about 2 or 3 people who are almost there. Like I said, we can do it if we get 6 or 7. We'd really love to have 11. It would make a bigger group, a better book. But it's going to be amazing. Ariel, tell us a little bit about what your plans are.
You know, retreats are kind of interesting because I've been on a ton of them. In fact, I was an addict for a little while. I had to control myself and not go on so many. But there's something that happens when we're living life and doing business, and we've got our family and our maybe our children, maybe grandchildren, whatever that might be. But we have all these different pieces of our life, and we have to think through processes. When you allow yourself a 3 to 4 to 5 day experience where you are focusing on yourself and your goals, and you really tap into a level of depth in your work, in your business, that you can't do when you're in the middle of, oh shoot, the laundry's going off and the kids are coming home, and you know, all the other things that our lives are so broken up in thought. So the retreat allows us to really focus. If we want a signature talk, we'll have as you said before, the outline might be there, but the fine tuning might not. So that's absolutely beautiful. But it's allowing yourself to have the time to really dig into that, and then have it turn into a book, a speaker reel, and a live talk online. I mean, just that alone is a lot of value. let alone more digital assets, having a greater understanding the next time you go shopping. I'm hoping we add a shopping trip on this. But
I
anyway,
think we can. I have to check I don't know what's available in
the mountains.
the mountains, but if not, we
We
could
might
at
have
least do
hiking
we
there.
could do an online shopping trip. But it would be fun to do a real shopping trip, and even if we go buy hiking clothes in our colors.
That would be
So
fun.
yeah, no, yeah, I agree with everything you both said. One of the things too that I want to fit in, I love retreats. Retreats are my business, my life. I probably attend, you know, 4 to 10 a year because they're my business. So I'm not just going as an attendee, although I do usually go to a couple as an attendee because sometimes it's nice to just relax and let somebody else handle it all. But one of the things that I think is really cool too, and what I've found is when you go to a retreat, you want to connect with the local environment too. And that's sometimes so rewarding. And what I haven't figured out, I have some ideas, but one of the things we're going to do is some type of a give back. So one afternoon, we're going to do a give back effect. It might be that we're asking you to bring some of your clothes that are no longer in your colors, and we visit a woman's shelter and try to give them some things. I haven't figured out exactly what it is, but this is really important because as heart-centered business owners, so many of us want to help everybody. And often we do that by lowering our prices. And that doesn't benefit anybody. It doesn't benefit you. It doesn't benefit the person you're helping. Nobody gets the value. People don't commit as much. So this give back, instead, you keep your prices where they're supposed to be. You charge what you're worth. And then you take that time and that money and you give it to someone who really needs it. Not someone who probably could afford to pay or has the opportunity to make the money, but someone who really needs it, whether it's at a shelter or an environmental issue or an orphanage. And so when I've done those retreats, they've been very powerful. So we're hoping to get that in there as well. So it's something else to look forward to.
I know that from a photography standpoint, one of the reasons I like retreats for branding shoots is because you basically have a ton of different sets. Like you have all these different backdrops to create a huge amount of variety. And the Shenandoahs it's just gorgeous, that area. And I don't know if the fall will be falling, but there might be flowers. I live in Florida, so I don't know anything about fall. But I'm so glad it's on the east side this year, because normally you have them over in Las Vegas, which is your side, but I get to drive and I'm excited. So anybody on the east side, this one's going to be closer. It's in Virginia. Beautiful area.
Yeah.
And the flight isn't too bad to see something different if you're on the West Coast. I actually live in Las Vegas, so I don't really know anything about fall either or green trees. So a nice change of scenery. And even if you see mountains and trees all the time, it's different. Again, when you, like Ariel was saying, when you can unplug from your day-to-day grind and just be present, good company, beautiful nature, and some kind of community give back. Lori mentioned that I was at her utility retreat last year. We went and cleaned up a beach, and it was so satisfying to see the difference we made for the local environment and the people, right? Because you don't take your kids to play at a beach when it's littered with garbage. So being able to give back was huge. And of course, I'm always for the idea of giving to a women's shelter. Yeah, that's always a winner for me. So, and if everyone brings clothes that are in their color palette, we can swap clothes first, and then whatever doesn't work for the group can go there. So
I'm
ways for it to be
I'm not wearing my colors. She probably is saying that to herself because she's wearing all the wrong colors.
I know. I saw Amy in person last week, and I was telling her how, like, if I know she's going to be there, it takes me so much longer to pack because I want to make sure everything's right.
And for the dress for me, I want you to dress for you. How are you going to be most comfortable? How are you going to be seen? I don't have many rules because I'm a rule breaker. So I have two are very important. Wear your colors and wear what's comfortable for you, right? So as long as you're comfortable and in your colors, you're going to look amazing. Your energy is going to be amazing. Don't dress for me. Now, if we work together and you know you shouldn't be wearing black and you're wearing black, I might just look at you. Why don't you want to be seen today? But I'm not judging in that way. Somebody asked me the other day, I had finished up a business meeting at one of the local steakhouse inside of one of the casinos. And so when we were leaving, he said, we should play fashion police. And I was like, oh, that's so hard for me because I've trained myself to not look at people and judge in that way, especially if we haven't worked together. If we have worked together and I see you at an event, I might just whisper, what are you hiding from? But I'm not judging.
But
I want to come from compassion and love.
Yeah, and that it really is compassion and love because it isn't, well, why are you wearing that? It's
Right.
why are you hiding? What's the real reason you're not showing up as best as you can? Which is a good question.
Well, I may be a little more judgy than you, Amy, because I can say it's really fun, especially like at a Las Vegas steakhouse where people are paying $200 for dinners, and these people in these outfits. Like I love watching on movie stars, and I can tell. I don't have an eye for the colors, but I can tell when it looks wrong. And I see these people who they've had a stylist and they're wearing a $2,000 dress, and it's like, oh, that just doesn't look right. I enjoy it sometimes.
Yeah. I will say on TV, when I'm looking at people and they're wearing things that don't go together, I'm like, why did they put that on them? That is always rough. And sometimes it's immediate to me when someone is out of their element, so to speak. And I'll give you one clue for yourself that you can take with you. If you look at someone else, or if you look in the mirror for yourself and you see your glasses first or your top first, or you see something else first before you see you, it's probably not your element.
You know, it's funny. You both bring up a good point, but when you're being told by most photographers, they will tell you to wear beiges, all neutral colors, no patterns. And that's a typical standard thing because yes, it's easier for the photographer. The lighting is easier. They don't have competing elements that they have to kind of work with. But the personality gets lost. If you look at a lot of branding shoots, they all kind of look alike after a while because everybody's wearing white or beige and there's the personality of the person, it might fit. So if that is you and that's what fits, perfect, do that. But all of us that are more color, I'm sort of a color. I love color. I love polka dots, if you can't tell. I'm trying to find a navy polka dot rather than a black and white polka dot because navy is my color. But anyway, but the point of that is, the judgment aside, it's very much like art. Art is very subjective. I might love it, you might hate it. And clothing that's a way we can express our personality. And there are some people that are pretty flamboyant in the way they express their personality. And that's perfectly fine. But we tend to kind of go, what in the world is that person wearing? But it's really their expression of how crazy they are or their dysmorphia. You never know.
Yeah, although it is very interesting because I was looking through, I worked in corporate America for 30 years and I was looking through pictures, and it's funny because when I was young, I wore fun clothes and bright clothes and that continued, until maybe second or third grade. And my clothes got less personality, more, mainstream or just, and then it's funny because like I started when I was in college, like I was a little bit more wild again, wore the fun clothes, had my own person, had my own style. And then as I got in corporate, I went, the first years I worked, I wore really fun jewelry and gold jewelry and, animals and earrings that were stood out. And I slowly started wearing black and navy and gray and browns, and my jewelry became smaller and less personality. And you can just see how, your clothing ends up being who you are or who you're think you're supposed to be. And it's funny how, like, now I wear whatever I want. Sometimes it's not in my color. I have brand, headshots that have a orange and white dress and a flower in my hair. And it's like, well, that's my headshot. So, because that's really where I feel comfortable. What I would love to, one of my favorite shots is I'm sitting by a pool in the dark and I have a tie-dyed hoodie on, but it's just, that captures me. Like, if I could use that for everything, I would, although it's not particularly professional, yet it's me. So it does make a huge difference.
Another piece to that is thinking about, like, if you're going to join us, which I know you are, because you just are so excited about this retreat and the value that it will bring. But when you're thinking about what you would do or what you would wear, that's a big factor for a lot of people. What do I wear for the photo shoot? We will help you with all that. But also think about what I can bring. Like, just having a phone, I mean, everybody has a phone, but just making a photograph with some kind of prop tells a story. And it also makes you a little less nervous. So there are props, obviously, you have to fit them in your luggage, but that can help you explain in one image what you do without saying it. How can you create a feeling in an image without saying it? So that's letting the photography do the heavy lifting. And then the words can be much less because the pictures are speaking. They're connecting with the words. So, thinking about making this whole experience fun, that signature talk, when you're on that, that stage and you're giving that talk, you'll have a mic. Even if you don't need one, we'll have one anyway. So it looks, that it's all about stepping up, right? Stepping beyond our comfort zone and allowing ourselves to be visible, as scary as that may feel, but we'll have so much fun doing it. You won't even know it's scary after a while.
And if you're someone that it's not scary, we're not trying to scare you. Come. This isn't just for people getting, working through those things. One of my biggest breakthroughs was doing an activity in a retreat like setting that I was looking forward to. Everyone else, it was a ropes course. And I was looking forward to it because I love adventurous things. So I was like, I'm here to have fun and support other people today. Like, I don't need a breakthrough here. And had one of the biggest breakthroughs because I was in the moment and something happened that triggered something and it all came out. So even if you're just like, yeah, I just want to break. I just want to go, always wanted to be in a book, always wanted to be a best-selling author, whatever the case may be, let it be a positioning tool for your business. Even if you're like, yeah, I just want to come have fun, hang out and like be in the mountains. Cool. We want you there. Because I promise you, you will be able to pour into others and you will get poured into. So you'll leave with something you didn't even know you needed.
Yeah, that's so great. Yeah. Like I said, this is not just for people, you can already be a best-selling author with 5 books. You can still get value here because it's going to be a different book. It's going to be a book, your story specific. You can tell a different story. Also, if you love speaking, I love speaking. I love having my pictures taken. And yet I'm going to learn something because, we're going to be in the book too. So we're going to have to do our 10-minute talks. So here are ours. And every time I do a talk somewhere, I learn something new. Every time I get pictures, I figure something else out. Every time, it's really for anyone. You have to be a woman. Sorry, men. This one's for women. Maybe we'll do another one for men in the future, but you have to be a woman. And other than that, you can be in corporate, you can have your own business. We are going to have fun. And I want to offer one other thing that I wanted to offer you. And unfortunately, the full thing I'm going to offer is only for people in the US, not because I don't like people from other countries, but because the companies don't offer it. So if you're from Canada or another country, I'll figure something else equivalent to help you with. But once you come to this retreat, you're going to have your pictures, your confidence, your clarity, your magic. You're going to want to travel all the time. You're going to want to get out there. So if you sign up before the end of July, what I'm going to give you is a full year of annual travel insurance. So that means you will be insured for the entire year anywhere you travel more than 150 miles from your house. And you don't have to think about it. You go on a cruise, you're covered. You fly somewhere, you're covered. You drive 200 miles away.
That's nice.
Yeah. So if you
That
sign up
adds up.
by July 31st, make a deposit by July 31st. And the deposit is $500 to hold your spot. Final payment's not due till August. But sign up by July 31st, and $500 deposit, you'll get that free annual travel insurance. And for those not in the US, I can give you travel insurance for one trip, or we'll figure something out. But I'm trying to find a way to offer that because all my Canadian friends are asking for it, and I haven't found someone who offers it yet. So I do want to tell you how to sign up for the retreat. Talking about it, if you go to unleashedvoices.net, unleashedvoices.net, that has pictures of the house, some pictures, tells a little bit more about all you're going to get, and you can make your deposit or you can pay in full. But that does tell you a lot about it. Unleashedvoices.net. It'll also be in the show notes. And we've got about 5 more minutes before we end. I'm going to ask both Amy and Ariel to give, just one thing you want to share with the audience, one tip, one thing to get them ready for the retreat, one thing if they can't come to the retreat, just that they should know. So Amy, why don't you go first?
Okay, so quickly, whether you come or not, if you've gotten your colors done or not, I'll give you a couple of colors that look great on everyone. Eggplant, that deep dark purple, and a true teal, not too blue, not too green. So if you are getting your photos done, if you are going to speak or going to a networking meeting and you don't know what to wear, those are 2 colors that you will look great. Feel the difference in your energy, how people treat you. With that being said, if you have that spark, as we've been sharing about this retreat, and you're like, I think this is for me, don't let you talk yourself out of it, out of fear of staying where you're. Fear is a funny thing. It's meant to keep us safe, right? And safety means growth in that sense. So if you have that spark where you're like, yes, I want that. Yes, I want that. Yes, I want that. I want this. And then you're like, but should I really do this? Or maybe I don't let yourself do that. Give yourself the gift of showing up, of having this experience, and give the world the gift of your message that you're going to get to share through this experience.
That's beautiful. And and those colors are great. If you're, just a little tip, if you're ever doing t-shirts for a group or something, pick one of those colors. And then you don't have to worry about them looking good on everyone. So, and Ariel, you have something to share?
Yeah, I was thinking about the apprehension or the value of what is being offered during this experience. A lot of times people, if you piecemealed it, one, it's a lot of time. So the amount you're going to accomplish during this one short period, this one little retreat, what you will accomplish out of that retreat will be priceless, from taking you to another level you don't even see, right? You really can't even see where it's taking you, but that's part of the fun. That's part of the journey. But the value is huge between just the time alone that it would take to go get your professional shoots, to go get your color, to get your book, to get a book published, to get a signature talk, all of the things that you're going to accomplish in this one event with a bunch of crazy fun women. It's really a very high value experience. And I cannot wait to meet you and have a great time.
Yes, thank you. Oh, that was great too. So we will. I guess we told you it was in September. We didn't tell you when it was. So I think that's really important. It's September 8th to 11th, 4 days, 3 nights. It includes all your food, all the assets we talked about. basically there's a price for double occupancy or single occupancy or the master. So there's different rooms in the house. You can get different pricing depending on what you want. But unleashvoices.net will have everything you need to know about it, or you can reach out to any of us with questions. And I would like to leave you with one thought as well. As I think we all have magic, and my why, and it took me a while to figure this out, but I feel like I had been hiding, becoming someone different, acting, doing all the things I thought were right, doing what I was supposed to do. And I never really thought about, am I happy? I had fun. I enjoyed it. And finally, there was something that happened at my job. A new guy got hired and I didn't get the job I was supposed to. And it got to the point where I was like, okay, I don't care anymore. I'm not trying. And I became unapologetically who I was, which means if I didn't believe in it, I wasn't going to do it. And I would tell them that. Now, I ended up getting fired for that. So unless you hate your job or you're ready to jump into something new, maybe think about that. And it was the best thing that ever happened. It was a gift because it told me that, you know who you are, or who you could be. You know what makes you happy. You know what lights you up. Why don't you do that all the time and figure out how to make a business out of that? And that allowed me to find my magic. It allowed me to realize that not only is finding my magic was part of my why, but it's helping other people do that. Find their magic and then use it to change the world. And I do this through retreats. I love to take a retreat and be creative and turn it into something incredible. It's, I don't know if you've been to retreats before, but we're not just going to sit around and do yoga and breath work and get massages. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but this is going to be, you're going to get a lot more out of that than this. But you're also going to have fun to sit in the hot tub and sit and talk with other people. And we may get some massages or breath work, who knows, but it's going to be amazing. So you deserve to have your magic. Once you have that magic, the right people are going to be drawn to you. And whether it's in corporate or whether it's in your own business, your life is going to change, your business is going to change, and things are going to really, you're going to become who you were meant to be. It's going to help you do that. We can't guarantee it, but it's definitely going to put you on that right path. And hopefully the stuff you've heard today has already put you on that right path. So I want to thank Ariel and Amy for being here, and I can't wait to spend 4 days with them in the mountains of Virginia. I am familiar with fall because I grew up in New Jersey. September might be a little early for the bright colors. The trees will be starting to change, and it'll be beautiful. It'll be nice. It'll be warm enough during the day, but cooling off at night. So you want to get in that hot tub. So thank you, everyone. And we'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode of Unleash Voices, or not of Unleash Voice, another episode of Journeys of Impact. And unleashvoices.net if you want to sign up for this retreat, or if you have any questions, contact any of us. Everything will be in the show notes. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day. Go out there and be extraordinary and change the world.
As this journey comes to a close, remember, impact isn't found in grand gestures alone. It lives in the conversations we start, the connections we make, and the courage we choose along the way. Today's episode is proof that extraordinary people can create extraordinary change in extraordinary places. And often, it starts closer to home than we ever imagined. So wherever your journey takes you next, lead with purpose, stay curious, and don't underestimate the power of one bold step or one meaningful ripple. If you loved what you heard, please take a moment to like, share, and follow. It's the best way to stay connected and be the first to know when new episodes drop. Until next time, keep moving forward because the world is waiting for what you bring to it.